It's been a while since I made a video on this topic. The last time was back in version 2.0, when Brant and Phoebe were announced. Well, here we are again. This time, with the official drip marketing of Lupa and Cartethiya, I'll once again go over everything else we know is coming in future versions based on the leaks. Whether you've lost track or just haven't been keeping up, don't worry. This video has got you covered. So, without any further ado, let's get right into it. Before I begin, let me remind you once again that all this information comes from leaks. Nothing is final and everything is subject to change in the future, so as always, take any leak-related content with a grain of salt. Now, let's talk about the most important part first, the characters and their banners. The first banner of version 2.4 is going to feature Cartethiya. She's a 5-star arrow sword user. And talking about her kit, Cartethiya has two forms, a young version and an adult version, which you've obviously seen in the story and also in her artwork. She literally transforms during combat when you use her Resonance Liberation, kinda similar to Zani, but her playstyle changes entirely when she enters her alternate form. When Cartethiya transforms, she loses a certain percentage of her maximum HP and a portion of her resistance, which are then converted into attack. She also gains a fixed amount of lifesteal and a completely new set of skills. Unlike Zani or other characters who are really strict about team comps, Cartethiya seems to be extremely flexible. She doesn't rely heavily on any specific support unit, but it's also said that her kit revolves around consuming arrow erosion stacks, which means the arrow rover can team up with her effectively. Now, on to Phase 2 of version 2.4, we've got Lupa, a fusion broadblade user. Her kit revolves around her Resonance Liberation, where her basic, heavy, and skill attacks all change and become enhanced. She turns into a pure burst DPS unit, dealing massive fusion damage. Well, according to the leaks. She's somewhat similar to Danjin. The lower her HP, the more damage she deals. Lupa also performs exceptionally well in a full mono fusion team alongside Changli and Brant. Her outro skill grants a 20% fusion damage buff and 25% basic attack damage for 14 seconds, making her a strong asset in team rotations. She's also expected to feature stunning animations, which is definitely something to look forward to. Now, let's talk about reruns in version 2.4. Predicting reruns this time is going to be a bit tricky, especially since we're already getting rerun selectors in the current version, which allow players to pick any previously featured characters they might have missed. This could definitely impact how reruns are handled in future versions. But if we go by logic and how Kuro usually does things, we can expect reruns of characters that pair well with the new ones. For Cartethiya, it seems that Sayakona would be a great support for her, but it's unlikely they'll rerun her immediately in the next patch. However, since Lupa works well with other fusion characters, there's a chance that Changli or Brant could get another rerun. Plus, Changli and Carlotta are getting new skins in version 2.4, which gives Kuro another good reason to bring them back as reruns. It would be a win-win scenario for both Kuro and the money spenders. Players could pull for the character and get their new skins at the same time. That's just my speculation for now, so we will have to wait and see how it actually plays out. Now, let's move forward and talk about the banners in version 2.5. In version 2.5, we can expect the release of Phrolova. She's expected to be a 5-star Havoc character who uses a rectifier. Her gameplay was leaked a few weeks ago, and from that short clip, it looks like she'll function well as an off-field DPS with coordinated attacks. Cantarella is rumored to be the best support for her, so we can also predict that version 2.5 might be when Cantarella gets her rerun. Alongside her, Camellia is another likely candidate. Since Phrolova seems to work best in a Havoc-centric team, rerunning Camellia would make perfect sense to round out her synergy options. As of now, no other new characters have been leaked for this version, but that could always change. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated when that happens. Moving on to version 2.6. We don't have many details yet, but what we do know is that 2 new 5-star characters are expected to arrive in this version. The first one is Augusta, an Electro Broadblade user. While we don't know much about her kit yet, early leaks suggest that she's going to be quite a powerful character. The second is Yunyua, an Arrow Gauntlet user. According to the leaks, she's set to be the first Gauntlet healer in the game, which is pretty exciting. Kudos to Kuro for continuing to bring variety and diversity to both weapon types and character roles. And for rerun banners, we can expect Zani or Sayakona to have their first rerun in this patch. Moving on, we don't have much information about version 2.7 yet, as nothing significant has been revealed by leakers. Now finally, let's talk about version 2.8. According to some sources, this version might feature a new male character, which is honestly great news. At this point, it's undeniable that the game lacks male characters, and it's about time we take a break from rover glazing and let us finally have some cool, badass men like GN and Calculator again. Speaking of Calculator, sources speculate that the new male character could actually be an alter version of Calculator, and we might also see Yap Yap Alter in the future, who is expected to be a 5-star unit. As for reruns, it's pretty hard to predict that far ahead. However, you can usually expect characters who pair well with the new units to return. Still, as I mentioned earlier, it's becoming more difficult to make accurate rerun predictions because of the rerun selector system in the current version. Now that we're done talking about the characters, let me share a few other things we know. Recently, Scar's wounded effect was added to the game. You can see it when you fight him. I don't think any other boss has this visual effect, at least not yet. So it really makes you wonder, does this mean Scar might become playable in future versions? What do you guys think? Also, both Lupa and Cartethiya are getting new echo sets. As if farming for good stats on the characters I just pulled wasn't already painful enough, and now I've got to grind for another set. Well, it is what it is. We can never be free from the grinding. There have also been talks about a new region we'll be heading to in version 3.0. Let me quickly explain what kind of place it is. This new region, called the New Federation, is a highly advanced nation built around technology, but it also has a serious class divide between humans and resonators. The nation is split into 2 cities, divided by a river that clearly works as symbolic representation of class division. In this region, technology is worshipped almost like a religion. Scientific progress, like creating artificial resonators, is moving fast, but there's a big problem. People often ignore the ethical issues behind it. Because of this, tensions are rising. Overall, the New Federation is a place on the edge. Its peace depends on a delicate balance of power, and it feels like it could collapse into chaos at any moment. Well, I guess that's pretty much everything. Feel free to share your thoughts or drop a comment if you have any question. With so many great characters coming one after another, it's honestly impossible for free-to-play players to decide who to pull and who to skip. Thanks for watching, and as always, take care. I'll see you in the next video.